Hello, everybody. Welcome back to. I guess this isn't exactly going to be called a podcast episode, but this is the what's going to count today's upload for the Gamerback podcast. I'm probably going to be calling this something like Gamerback Reviews or VAZ Reviews, but I'm not really sure yet. Obviously, today's a bit different. I'm not a Discord call with everyone else like usual. I'm going to explain that in a bit, but today I'm going to be reviewing King Kong vs. Godzilla. Not this one, but the new one that came out a couple days ago on the 31st. And so I'm just have my browser open. I have a couple tabs open already. Going to be opening tabs as I go, just to talk about some things that I liked, some things I didn't like. And yeah, I'm here alone today because no one else on the podcast server, besides Angel, seen the movie. But Angel had to last minute do something, so he couldn't come on. So I'm just going to be here alone. And we couldn't really find because we were going to stream it through HBO Max. Someone had an HBO Max account, and we were going to stream it to each other and watch it in a Discord call. But it turns out HBO Max doesn't let you actually do that. So when you try to stream on Discord using HBO Max, it just shows a black screen, and you can only hear the audio, which was kind of sucky. So we didn't have a way for everyone to watch King Kong vs. Godzilla, and so we couldn't exactly review it all together. But I think it's fine, because I'm a pretty big Godzilla fan, as I said in previous podcast episodes, and probably another podcast. I've seen every Godzilla movie, besides the third anime one, where he fights Ghidorah. And I don't really plan on seeing that too soon, because wasn't a big fan of the anime ones, but I'll probably watch it at some point. But yeah, I'm going to get into the reviews. I don't really have a script or anything either, or I just have a mental log of things I really liked and things that kind of I didn't like, because this movie was really, really good. And it didn't really disappoint in many ways, besides one, which I'll get to later. But the movies, I'll say, actually, one disappointing thing was that it kind of flew by. Like, it felt like we didn't spend enough time. Like, it left me wanting more. There was a lot of action. There wasn't a lot of, like, crappy human characters doing dumb things. Although there was a little bit, and that little bit was really bad. But, yeah. So, let me think of some of the things I did like. Obviously, action. Action, it felt like, I'll tell you what it felt like. It felt like somehow a cross between a wrestling match and a Dragon Ball Z fight. Because King Kong's out here doing some crazy, like, acrobatics, flips, like, almost like martial arts. And he used his environment really well when they're fighting into... Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. This is going to have spoilers. In case you didn't know. Spoiler time. If you haven't seen this movie yet, get the fuck out of here. This is spoiler territory. Back to what I was saying. Whatever Kong is, and even Godzilla here and there was using the environment. What I mean by using the environment, like grabbing things, like throwing it, and like using it as weapons. Because there's one point where Kong, he's in Hong Kong, he's top of the building. Godzilla lost, couldn't figure out where he was. He's getting a sneak attack to drop on Godzilla. He's using a fucking crane as a weapon. He's throwing shit all over the place. And there's one point when actually it's in this fight scene. Oops, I didn't mean to click on this. When they're on the boat, Godzilla's swimming to the boat, and he grabs another part of a ship he already wrecked, and has it attached to his tail, and is wrecking other boats behind him with it. So this movie uses I'm not sure if there's a particular word for it, but the characters use the environment really, really well. Another thing I liked, Godzilla, almost the entire movie is in full 100% villain mode. He is the bad guy. There's no disputing it. There is another bad guy, but he's the main bad guy. King Kong, 100. He's the fucking anime protagonist. The movie really wants you to root for King Kong. Really wants you to root for King Kong. It follows him from the very beginning. The opening shot is King Kong waking up. It's like his morning fucking routine. He wakes up. He's taking a shower. He's literally taking a shower in a waterfall. And he picks up a giant fucking tree and just chucks it at the little containment thing he's in. It's pretty cool. And even from the beginning, they're like, oh, Godzilla's been fucking shit up. they state from the beginning, Godzilla's back to villain mode. He's not really he's not being a nice guy. And like King Kong, he's our only hope. They really set up from the beginning that King Kai is the good guy and you want him to win. I did not want King Kong to win. I'm a huge Godzilla fan, but that's fine. People who are King Kong fans, this was a King Kong movie. This was not a Godzilla movie. This is a King Kong movie. That's yeah. But seeing Godzilla in full, like, he was evil. He was really pissed off, and he was evil for a good purpose. Which I guess, since we're talking about spoilers, basically the premise was that Godzilla, he's tearing shit up, right? No one knows why he's tearing shit up, but some people do know. It turns out he's tearing shit up because this motherfucker, Mechagodzilla, is being tested at a bunch of different Monarch sites. And every time they turn on Mechagodzilla, the regular Godzilla flips the fuck out. And he goes to the Monarch site, and wherever that Monarch site is, he just tears up the whole city or, like, place where it's at. And no one really knows that besides the main two villains, which I don't remember their names. I know one of them was the son of the doctor that blew himself up to power up Godzilla and King of the Monsters. I think it's like Sarazawa or Sarazara or something like that. But those two are like the only ones who know this. But that's really it. And then, but the thing is, Godzilla doesn't realize that it is Mechagodzilla. That's like, he just like, it's like his animal instinct is kicking off, and he's like, I sense another predator. I have to go fight it. So eventually, he senses the other predator and accidentally bumps into King Kong. And basically, Godzilla probably assumes that King Kong's been what he's sensing. And King Kong has no idea what the fuck is going on. And Godzilla jumps him. Like, he just jumps him. It's pretty fucking awesome. So at this point, Godzilla's like, in this fight, it's actually kind of stupid how Godzilla wins. Like, he could have killed King Kong on the boat. He got King Kong knocked out, and one of the guys on the ship with King Kong was like, okay, turn off all the lights. We have to play dead, and Godzilla will go away. So they, what's going on? I'm recording right now. The camera's not on. Okay. Yeah. Well, what I was saying, King Kong, he's knocked down the boat. The people on the boat, they're like, oh shit, Godzilla's coming right at us. Basically what they end up doing is, they turn off, like, all the energy or all the lights or whatever the fuck on the boat, and they play dead, and Godzilla, like, pisses off, which is fine. I'm okay with it, but because the fight was really cool. King Kong gets bitch slapped. Pretty cool. And then, basically, this whole boat ride, they're trying to bring King Kong to the Arctic, I think it was, or Antarctic, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was just an icy area. They're like, okay, you have to do the Hollow Earth, blah, blah, blah. Kong dicks around for a little bit. He gets his ass beat by, like, some flying dragon-looking thing, which is a little awkward, considering he just, like, fought Godzilla. But it was also kind of fine. But that's something actually, I do have a problem with that. Why was King Kong struggling to fight like this? It was like this giant flying snake in the Hollow Earth. I didn't really understand why Kong was struggling with that, because he had to have some assistance from, like, the human characters and some gunship, because the gunship, like, blew up the dragon that was, like, constricting him, when he literally just fucking fought Godzilla, and he's struggling against this little, like it's like a minion. It's a fucking jobber, right? I don't know what the point of that was. The Hollow Earth was really cool. Another good thing I liked. The world building, like, it's so incredibly unrealistic, but the movie is not trying to take itself seriously, which is why it works. The movie understands, it's completely bonkers and unrealistic, but they're not trying to make it seem that way. They're just saying, like, this is just the core of the Earth, except a bunch of giant monsters live there. And it's where King Kong is from, and Godzilla is from there too. And what I kind of like is that this was set up in King of the Monsters, where Godzilla already knows about the Hollow Earth, and he utilizes it pretty well. Like, that's how he's explained to get from one side of the Earth to the other so quickly. It's not him swimming through the ocean that fast. It's him literally traveling through the core of the Earth and popping on the other side almost instantly. Because he just knows where all the Hollow Earth, like, entry points are. So King Kong doesn't know about this, but Godzilla does. King Kong's digging around Hollow Earth, and then eventually he finds, like, his home, I guess. It's like in a giant volcano mountain-looking thing, and he finds his axe, which I wasn't a big fan of in the trailer, but the way it's used in the movie is actually really well. The way it's used in the movie is, like, if you've ever seen WWE, it's just the steel chair. It's when John Cena gets the steel chair and starts fucking shit up. It's just King Kong's steel chair against Godzilla. And that's literally how it's treated for the entire part of the movie. So he gets the thing, And the whole point that the humans want to get to Hollow Earth because the axe has some special, like, it's like an infinite fuel energy source type of deal. And so the bad humans want to get there for the axe, but the good humans want to get there for kind of like unknown reasons, just because the bad humans are kind of telling them to do so and they don't realize that they're bad. So at this point, King Kong is in his throne room, whatever, and he picks up the axe and puts it in the ground, charges it up, and Godzilla, he's going to Hong Kong because he sensed Mechagodzilla again. And at this point, Godzilla then gets a sensing from the Hollow Earth, and this is when something completely kind of unrealistic happens. And it's really unrealistic, but once again, movie doesn't really want you to take it seriously, so it's not that big a deal. Godzilla starts charging his atomic breath, and he doesn't he starts charging it upwards, and he looks like he's going to do another beam up, like he did in King of the Monsters, to signal, like, I don't know, that he's the best or whatever. But instead, he fucking fires it down into the middle of Hong Kong. And then you realize he's not trying to, like, fuck up the city. He's trying to drill a hole through the core of the Earth, which is exactly what he does. Meaning, Godzilla, if he wanted to, can break the planet. He can just cut the planet straight in half. Because he successfully fire breaths his way to the fucking core of the Earth, which is kind of insane. And he actually pinpoints King Kong's location, too. He, like, fires it directly onto King Kong. And it is a really cool shot of Godzilla in Hong Kong looking down the hole with King Kong in the core of the Earth looking up the hole and them screaming at each other. And it's kind of like them screaming like, what's up, asshole? Like, come up here and fucking fight me. It's really like they're just trash talking each other, which is why another reason it reminds me of a fucking WWE fight. Because there's like a lot of just them scenes of them screaming at each other from like pretty far distances. And it's the equivalent of like, the pre-match in the WWE where they're like, oh, you're a fucking asshat, you can't beat me, and then proceed to get their ass kicked. That's exactly what it is. So and then another unrealistic thing happens. King Kong jumps up through the hole that Godzilla just shot through and winds up in Hong Kong. It's just like, because they explain that gravity works different in the Hollow Earth, so if you go up, you actually start falling down. No idea. It's pretty cool, though. I'm not complaining, because they're not trying to be like, oh, take this shit, because a big problem with Godzilla 2014 is that they're kind of really trying to make it seem super serious. Like, the military has to deal with these types of things, and, like I don't know. They're not really handling it that well. It's still a good movie, but it's not handled as well as it should be. But this movie, it's kind of like the humans accept that they live in a world where these super unrealistic things are happening, and because the humans accept it, and they're prepared for it, the audience ourselves are also prepared and accepting it. So King Kong, he jumps through the hole, winds up in Hong Kong. This is where Act 3 kind of starts. And this is also where the best fight starts. King Kong is going ham on Godzilla. Number one, he's got the axe. Number two, the first fight took place in the ocean. This fight is taking place in the concrete jungle. Basically where King Kong, it's where he has the advantage, more than less. He's kind of going ham on Godzilla. They're tearing shit up. And another thing that I've heard people complain about, but isn't really a complaint from me myself, is that they don't really focus on the civilian casualties, which is usually a big part of classic Godzilla films. Like, oh, like the kill count, like so many casualties. It's what Godzilla's supposed to represent in the first place. But for this movie, I don't think it matters, because it's not a Godzilla solo movie, nor is it a Kong solo movie. It's a versus movie. So in a versus movie, you don't want to see the casualties. You want to see monsters fucking each other up. And that's what we got in Hong Kong. And like I said earlier, King Kong, he's doing lots of interesting, like, it's almost like he's super agile. Not to mention Godzilla, which is a concern I had, that Godzilla wouldn't be very quick and agile. But he is. He's actually something interesting. It almost looks like he's using his tail to, like, balance himself better. Like, he'll swing his tail around him so he can propel himself forward to fucking slap King Kong in the face, And King Kong's super agile and, like, he's like a boxer or like an MMA fighter. He's like dodging and weaving, getting the upper hand on Godzilla. A lot of really interesting stuff. Not to mention he's just grabbing shit, like anything he can find, he's grabbing it and throwing it in Godzilla's direction. And there's another scene where Godzilla, he's stupid. He's really dumb in this movie, and I guess that's how he's supposed to be. Like, he's supposed to be more instinctual, animalistic, and King Kong's supposed to be the thinker, like the brains. So Godzilla loses track of where King Kong is a couple times, and one of the times King Kong is he's hiding behind this building, or on the top of this building. He's got something. I think it's another crane in his hand, and he throws it, but purposely misses. I was like, oh shit, he fucking missed his throw. But then he throws it, and Godzilla turns around to thinking, because he heard the noise, and turns around thinking it's King Kong, and King Kong is fucking slammed down on them. It's really, really cool. And you can kind of tell another thing, that even though King Kong is going apeshit, literally going apeshit on Godzilla, Godzilla is barely taking any damage. And Kong visibly is. You can see scratch marks throughout the fight. You can see he's getting battle wounds, he's getting burnt up. And there's one scene where he gets hit by he loses his axe mid-fight. He lost the axe. And he gets hit by Godzilla's atomic breath. And he's on fire. His back is on fire and he's running away. And there's another scene. It's shot really, really cool because it's from King Kong's perspective. You're in his eyes when he's running away from Godzilla's atomic breath. So Godzilla is tearing through Hong Kong with his atomic breath, and you're literally in King Kong's point of view and watching him swing through the buildings and dodge and weave, trying to dodge the atomic breath the entire time. It's really, really cool. And there's a couple other point of view shots, not only from King Kong's perspective, but almost civilian, you're civilian in the action, watching it all go down. And I'll get to that later because it's not really in the King Kong versus Godzilla fight. It's in the King Kong versus Mechagodzilla fight. But the King Kong perspective shots are really cool, and they reminded me heavily of the Super Dragon Ball Super's Broly movie, because there's a couple shots from Broly's perspective in that fight. I think it's when Broly's fighting Vegeta specifically. You're in Broly's eyes, and you see you throwing the punches and you throwing the kicks and having to dodge Vegeta's attacks. That's exactly what it was like when you were in King Kong's perspective. It was done super, super well. So yeah, basically, King Kong lost the axe, and he lost his steel chair, and he lost the fight because of that. Godzilla wins, which is what I expected, and what I also expected from this movie was I really seriously thought King Kong was going to die. I went into this movie expecting that big monkey to die. And Godzilla spared him. It's actually a really cool parallel, too. So, King Kong's knocked down on the ground. He's about to get up, and Godzilla walks over and stomps on his chest. And that's exactly what Godzilla also did to King Ghidorah in King of the Monsters. When Ghidorah was knocked down, Godzilla walked over, stomped. It's almost like Godzilla's signature, I'm better than you move. He stomps on his chest, and he's pressing down, and then King Kong's roaring at him, and they're still shit talking each other. That must be what it is. And Godzilla's screaming back at him. They're just giant monster shit talking, and it's done really, really well. And then Godzilla gets off the chest. I thought right there, he was gonna kill King Kong. He did not. But he gets off his chest, he starts walking away, and King Kong tries to get back up, and he stumbles and falls back down. And it's almost really sad, because King Kong, he's the hero of this movie. He's the main character, and he lost. It's kind of shitty. And then as Godzilla's walking away, out of the mountain in fucking Hong Kong, Mechagodzilla busts out. And how they handle Mechagodzilla in this movie is super, super, super interesting. Just in case people who are watching don't know. Mechagodzilla is my favorite Godzilla character. I'm not going to say kaiju. I think he's called a daikaiju because he's a mechanical kaiju. But he's my favorite Godzilla kaiju, daikaiju, whatever the fuck of all time. I love Mechagodzilla. My first ever Godzilla movie I've ever seen was Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the very original. And I'll admit, most movies handle Mechagodzilla very poorly. I'm super biased, but I'm going to be unbiased right now. Most Mechagodzilla films are not good. The only one that is good I'd say is actually a good movie, is the one... fuck, I'm forgetting it. Hold on. I'll look it up. What am I doing? I think it's 2003. The 2003 Mechagodzilla movie. Yeah, it is. This one. Because because most of the time, the explanation for Mechagodzilla is that he's made by aliens. He's made by aliens, Aliens come to fight Godzilla. And they make Mechagodzilla. But this specific Mechagodzilla was made by, I believe it's called the United Nations Godzilla Defense Force, or some wacky ass fucking name. But this guy Mechagodzilla is actually built by humans to fight, specifically for fighting Godzilla, not for like taking over the Earth or anything, which is what most other Mechagodzillas are. But this, the new 2021 Mechagodzilla definitely reminds me more of the 2003 Mechagodzilla. Let me open this. This guy. This is his design, by the way. And I was extremely worried that he was going to look like this. Look at this bullshit. This looks like fucking garbage. I can't lie. Or like this. I saw this leak a while ago. I'm like, please don't make Mechagodzilla look this goofy. But he actually looks really fucking badass, and I like it. Because I went in this movie expecting not to like the Mechagodzilla, and I really enjoyed what they did with him. Because like these two leaks were the leaks I saw a while ago. He looks like he can get knocked over like a tin can by King Kong, right? But what they do to him in this movie is really interesting. So I'm gonna break that down. Basically, Millie Bobby Brown's character. I don't really like her character, nor do I like the group she's with. She's actually with the kid from fucking Deadpool 2. Don't know the actor's name, but them two and some conspiracy theory like nut job. And they broke into a monarch facility. They accidentally take a Hollow Earth tunnel to Hong Kong, where the Mechagodzilla is currently located. And they walk in accidentally on the Mechagodzilla training room. That you see Mechagodzilla one shot a fucking skullcrawler, like an adult skullcrawler, they say. And just in case for context, King Kong was struggling to fight a single adult skullcrawler in his previous movie. Like that was the final boss of Skull Island, and Godzilla literally tore it in half in almost a second. So that just was like a constitute to how fucking powerful this thing was. And excuse me, the explanation to how it exists is that obviously and another, it's super unrealistic to fucking build a robot Godzilla. But the movie's not focusing on that, like the funding, the mechanical parts. They don't really give a shit. How they explain it is that I believe they say how they, so in the post-credit scenes of King of the Monsters, you see that the bad guys took the remains of King Ghidorah. And what they explain is that inside of Mechagodzilla is one of the skulls of King Ghidorah. And the other skull is located in the Hong Kong facility with like a Neuralink thing. Like it's almost like from Sword Art Online, like the stupid VR headset you put on your head. And so the bad guys controlling Mechagodzilla remotely. And they're doing this, they need the Ghidorah skulls because they communicate telepathically. So the one Ghidorah skull in here is being communicated with telepathically by the one in the Hong Kong station. And so the reason the bad guys want this infinite fuel from the underground world or whatever is to fully power Mechagodzilla. And they get it, and it gets to Mechagodzilla powers up, and you see like the sequence of him like getting fucking juiced up, his eyes are flickering like red and blue. It's pretty, and I was really hoping they keep the color scheme red, and for a second I was worried they're going to make him blue, but they kept it red, which is really, really cool. And you see it powering up, and all of a sudden something goes wrong. The computer starts glitching, like the screen's fucking up, and the bad guy's like doing a little monologue to Millie Bobby Brown's little trio, and you see Mechagodzilla in the background start walking towards him, like from the training facility or whatever, and just fucking kill him. And that's when you realize, like, oh shit, something is going wrong. And then it cuts to the guy actually controlling Mechagodzilla, and he's like being shocked inside of Ghidorah's skull. And that's when you kind of realize, oh, Ghidorah has taken over Mechagodzilla. So this is almost a fusion of Mechagodzilla and Mecha King Ghidorah from, I'll pull up Mecha King Ghidorah, which I think is a stupid fucking goofy ass movie. Mecha King Ghidorah. I very much dislike Mecha King Ghidorah. This looks so stupid. I think this is dumb. However, how they handled it is that basically King Ghidorah, since like it was just like dormant, and as soon as it came in contact with the infinite fuel from the underground, it like regained consciousness and just took over Mechagodzilla. So right now, my bad, Mechagodzilla is in complete control of King Ghidorah. This is King Ghidorah, and you can actually tell by the roar, because when the first time you see Mechagodzilla in action, he has like a robot version of Godzilla's roar, but later he starts roaring at Godzilla, and it's Ghidorah's roar. And another thing to note, it's not called atomic breath, it's called a photon scream. I looked it up. That's a fucking badass name, the photon scream. And when Ghidorah is in control, the color changes to, the base of the laser actually changes to yellow and then spreads to become more red as it fires on, which is supposedly a reference to Ghidorah's lightning breath, which is yellow. So that's another neat thing. That's kind of how you know Ghidorah is in control here. Another thing to point out, when the Millie Bobby Brown's group sees Ghidorah's skull, fucking the conspiracy guy, he calls the skull Monster Zero, which, in case you didn't know, I believe the original, like the first appearance of King Ghidorah is called Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, or something with Monster Zero. I'm look it up. Which I thought was a really cool reference, because they did not call King Ghidorah Monster Zero in King of the Monsters, I don't believe. Oh wait, he is, my bad. But whenever they refer to King Ghidorah as Monster Zero, the invasion of the Astro Monster. I guess that must be the American name. But I'm pretty sure in Japan it's called Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. And whenever they call Monster Zero, I don't know. I think it's really cool because Monster Zero is such a badass name. Even though I'm not the biggest Ghidorah fan, I'll admit Monster Zero is pretty cool. That's enough of the Mechagodzilla backstory. I'm gonna start breaking down the fight. And now this is when it gets into Dragon Ball fight territory. That's what I'm gonna say. I'd say King Kong versus Godzilla is a WWE fucking cage match with the steel chair. Fucking Mechagodzilla comes out. It reminds me of Goku versus the Ginyu Force on Namek, except Mechagodzilla is taking Goku's place because he's fighting both King Kong and Godzilla at the same time. Very, very similarly to how Goku was fighting Jace and Berter. If you've never seen Dragon Ball Z, sorry about that, but it's almost very similar to how Goku's like dodging. Like, Jace and Berter are going nuts. They're doing everything they can to hit Goku, and Mechagodzilla and Goku's dodging every attack. Godzilla is trying to solo. There's a point where because King Kong's knocked down for like the first half of the fight. He's still fucking KO'd from Godzilla kicking his ass. And now Mechagodzilla is giving Godzilla the fucking thrashing of a lifetime. There's a couple, when I was talking about the point of view shots from before, they're all during this fight, and they're not from Mechagodzilla, King Kong, or Godzilla. They're from, it seems like, bystanders. And the one that really stands out, and I remember really well, is it's like you're in an office building, and you see Mechagodzilla has grabbed Godzilla's fucking face and is slamming it through the surrounding buildings. Like you're looking out an office building window, like from a conference table almost, and you're watching Godzilla get slammed through a building, get slammed through another building, and you know it's coming. And you see Godzilla's face just fly into the fucking window you're looking out of, and it's super cool. And you see the rumble of like the office chairs every time a slam happens. And like you don't see anything for a second, and Godzilla's face just comes flying at the screen. It's really done like super well. And another thing that's done well about Mechagodzilla, which I'm really happy about. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up the fight, the original Mechagodzilla fight. It's actually also a 2v1. I believe the monster's called King Caesar. And so it's King Caesar and Mechagodzilla. King Caesar and Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. And the fight, this is it. This is King Caesar, by the way. He's pretty quick. Yeah, King Caesar. And I'm going to lower it. But I'm going to skip to the actual action. Mechagodzilla does not move. It's him firing lasers and rockets at these two. And it's pretty cool. Oh, my bad. This is an advertisement. It's pretty cool. But there's not physical action because King Caesar and Godzilla are really struggling to approach the original Mechagodzilla. But in this fight, the new Mechagodzilla, he is probably faster than King Kong. He's faster and stronger than King Kong. He has rockets like rocket boosters lined down his back. So what he does, it's like he jumps and the rockets push him forward. There's a fucking rocket punch at his main attack was just him rocket punching fucking Godzilla. And it was really cool. He obviously still keeps like the missiles. Like, oh yeah, here's what I'm talking about. It's just him fucking bombarding with missiles and lasers and bullshit, and these two can't approach. He's like a zoner in a video game. You just can't get near him. But this one, he's in your fucking face, and he needs to be in your face because he's shooting missiles at Godzilla, and Godzilla's walking through the missiles, and that's when Mechagodzilla kind of starts attacking him. Another thing, his tail it's like another limb, because Godzilla never really uses his tail much for attacking. But Mechagodzilla, number one, there's like a slicer, like it's like a blender attached to the end of his tail. And there's a scene where he's gonna blend fucking King Kong's face off. But I'll get to that in a second. And yeah, no, he's super like fast and speedy, and he's like swiveling, he's like rocket boosting in back of Godzilla and like fucking hitting him from behind and shit like that. It's really, really cool. And it gets to the point where Godzilla is like, he's done. He's beat by Mechagodzilla, which I was also really happy to see. And all the other human characters, the good guys that were with King Kong from the beginning, they're kind of like, oh, King Kong needs to step in. He needs to do something. So the little deaf girl that King Kong's been with the whole time, he goes up and he's like, King Kong's dying. We need to restart his heart. And this is another Dragon Ball thing that comes in. They give him a fucking sensu bean. In Dragon Ball, the sensu bean is when the character's like knocked out, you give them the sensu bean and they come back like at full health. They take one of the gunships that they went to the Hollow Earth with, and they use that as like to restart they do like an energy pulse and restart King Kong's heart. And that's just the sensu bean. Like, he gets back up. Oh, here's something really cool. I guess during his fight with Godzilla dislocated his fucking shoulder. So King Kong, he springs up. He sees Mechagodzilla. The girl says, you gotta fight Mechagodzilla, not Godzilla. He slams his dislocated shoulder into a building and pops it back into place. And that's how you know, like, King Kong, he's full power. He's about it. Like, they just gave him a sensu bean from Dragon Ball, and I don't mind it because it's pretty cool. So, and then at this point, Mechagodzilla does probably the coolest thing in the whole movie. He's standing on Godzilla's chest now, just like how Godzilla was standing on King Kong's, and he picks up Godzilla's head and is trying to force Godzilla's jaw open to try, because what Godzilla did in Godzilla 2014 to the Muto, he forced the jaw open and fired the laser down his throat and killed it. And Mechagodzilla was doing the same exact thing to Godzilla. Godzilla's about to taste his own medicine. And just as in Mechagodzilla, he does it. He has Godzilla's mouth wide open. He's charging the breath. And just as that's about to happen, King Kong grabbed Mechagodzilla's neck and fires the laser into the air and saved Godzilla. Really, such a good fucking scene. Because, like, I was like, holy shit. Like, because I'm not going to lie. I was expecting someone to die in this movie. I thought they were about to kill Godzilla. I was like, holy fuck, this isn't happening. And it didn't, which is good. But that scene was another really great parallel to Godzilla 2014. And this is when the Jace versus Birder fight comes in. Or Jace Birder versus Goku. Like, King Kong and Godzilla felt like jobbers to fucking Mechagodzilla. They're like grabbing Mechagodzilla's arms. They're like, you know, just like trying to wrangle this fucking beast. Which is, by the way, is bigger than both of them. He has like a good head over Godzilla, who has a good head over King Kong. So they're very small in comparison to Mechagodzilla. And they're grabbing his arms and the tail is swinging and hitting them instead, and like rockets are fucking firing King Kong's face. Like they're really struggling here. And Godzilla gets knocked down again. And then he can't get back up. Like Godzilla's like done. He's actually beat. And King Kong has to solo Mechagodzilla. And now at this point, I think Mechagodzilla has King Kong in a type of like a press against a building. And both of his arms are holding King Kong's arms, and his tail is wrapped around him, trying to stab King Kong in the face. And as this is happening, the Millie Bobby Brown trio is in like the stupid Hong Kong facility where they were testing Mechagodzilla, trying to hack the computer to shut off Mechagodzilla, which is the dumbest fucking thing that they can possibly think of. Good thing they actually don't fully do it, but they spill the guy, like the stupid fucking conspiracy guy, he has a drink, alcohol or whatever, and the kid just spills it on the keyboard, and that shuts off Mechagodzilla's tail for like a couple seconds, and it's like enough seconds for like King Kong to break free. And now King Kong, he breaks free, he runs over, he finds his axe, he runs over, grabs the axe, and now he's still trying to hit Mechagodzilla, and the axe is doing no damage, doing nothing. And then Mechagodzilla grabs him one more time. But this time his tail is like disabled or something because the stupid fucking kids spilled a drink on the keyboard. And I'm not sure, I don't remember very clearly, but I know, like, I think he was going to fire the laser into King Kong's face. And Godzilla, from like a mile away, shoots his laser and powers up King Kong's axe to start using against Mechagodzilla. And now the powered up axe is just completely tearing apart Mechagodzilla limb for limb. Once again, the steel chair from WWE fucking up Mechagodzilla. And the kill shot is King Kong rips off Mechagodzilla's head and like holds it in the air and screams. And it's done really, really, really well. And what I thought, actually, for a second, for like a split second, what I thought was going to happen, because once again, I was saying this fight was reminding me a lot of Dragon Ball Z. The Raditz, once again, another 2v1 fight. Piccolo and Goku versus Raditz. The way Piccolo wins is Goku has Raditz in a chokehold, and he shoots the laser through both of them and kills them both. I thought Godzilla was going to shoot the laser through Mechagodzilla and King Kong and take them both out. But he ended up just charging like King Kong's axe, which he had in his hand, and then King Kong did the final blow. But I thought they were gonna fucking Piccolo Mechagodzilla and King Kong. I think that would have been really, really funny. But yeah. And now all of this might sound like a lot. However, I kid you not, Mechagodzilla is in this movie for about 8 minutes. All of this goes down to 8 minutes. These are the best 8 minutes of like fucking Godzilla history, but goddamn, it flies by, and I wish there was more of it. Like, they handled Mechagodzilla. This is the best Mechagodzilla's ever been. Ever. This is peak Mechagodzilla. And as a Mechagodzilla fan, I was very happy, but it seems like, number one, he's not coming back, and number two, like, this is the last we're going to see of him for a very long time in any Godzilla movie, or any Godzilla anything. So I'm a bit disappointed he wasn't here. He was here for a good time, not a long time. But I wish he was here for a good time and a long time. But that's fine. I'll take what I can get. I'm sure everyone else was very satisfied with how Mechagodzilla turned out. Because I haven't heard much complaints about him. I haven't heard anyone say like, oh, Mechagodzilla was stupid. Mechagodzilla was dopey. I don't like him. No. Everyone was like, I do like Mechagodzilla, which I'm happy about. People are joining the Mechagodzilla wave, and I'm the one who started it. I'm the fucking OG Mechagodzilla fan. Anyway, the end of the movie, it's kind of like, oh, it's pretty interesting. Godzilla gets back up, and King Kong's already up. Like, the fight is finished, and it looks like Godzilla's ready to fucking fight King Kong again. So King Kong gets back up. He's like ready to. He's like got his axe in his hand. He's ready to fight. And Godzilla, he does the equivalent of a bro hug in a fucking monster movie. He does the nice roar at King Kong, and King Kong kind of roars back, and it's like they acknowledge each other as like, we're homies now. We found the bad guy. We fought him together. We're all good. And Godzilla swims off, which is also, I believe, a reference to the original King Kong versus Godzilla, this movie. How in the end, King Kong swims off and kind of leaves Godzilla wherever the fuck he was. We don't see where Godzilla's left. King Kong kind of swims off. They don't even acknowledge each other. But in this movie, Godzilla's the one swimming off. Which is done pretty well. It's kind of like, we're bros now. We're all cool. I'll see you next movie. If that happens, which is now what I'm going to get into. The thing that's it's a little concerning, but also it may not be an issue. There was no post-credits scene. What I've heard is that apparently the post-credits scene was supposed to be a different scene in the movie, but they took the post-credits scene and moved it further up. So I'm assuming the very last scene we see is they turn the Hollow Earth into a tourist attraction. And I'm assuming that was supposed to be the post-credit scene, but they decided not to for some reason. And the reason, I think, is because they're probably not going to be making any more of these movies. I think they call this the Monsterverse. I think this is the last Monsterverse. It might be. I'm not saying I'm 100% sure, but I would not be surprised if this was the very last Monsterverse movie we ever got. Because it's a pretty good definitive ending. Of they defeat King Ghidorah, who was in Mechagodzilla's body for the very last time. So I doubt they'd be bringing back Mecha King Ghidorah or King Ghidorah for another movie ever again. King Kong and Godzilla, they acknowledge each other as equals, so they don't need to rematch. Really, they could rematch And okay, another thing I want to point out: this original movie, King Kong vs. Godzilla, was 1962. That is a long fucking time. It is 2021. That's like, what, 60 years for them to rematch? We're not getting another rematch for maybe ever. This might be the last time we might see these two fight ever again. And that's why I'm not surprised that they're making any more of these movies. Like, they don't need a big Avengers Endgame moment where, like, all the monsters band together to fight someone, because there's none of that. We don't need any more of this. I think it's done. Because the only thing I can imagine is them making another King Kong movie, possibly because he's still alive. Because if they weren't going to make King Kong movies, they would have fucking killed him. That's what I think would have happened. That's why I thought he was going to die, because it would be the last King Kong movie. But I can imagine them possibly making, like, a King Kong, like, Hollow Earth movie based on him, like, I don't know. Maybe there's an evil King Kong that he's got to fight in the Hollow Earth. But I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure this is the end for the MonsterVerse. I think it's a good end. They might bring it back somewhere down the line, or maybe novelizations, or because there's been a lot of MonsterVerse comic books actually that are pretty interesting. So maybe they'll continue it in like comic books and novels and stuff. But for a while, I think this is the last MonsterVerse movie we're going to get, and that concerns me because that might be the end of Godzilla movies for a long time. But I don't think so. I think we'll get Godzilla somewhere, like another Godzilla movie in like the next 10 years. Godzilla never fucking dies. He's always been around. We're even getting a Godzilla anime and a King Kong. I think it's a cartoon, which both the King Kong cartoon is in the MonsterVerse. The Godzilla anime is not, and they both look super interesting. So obviously, we're still getting more of their stuff. Like it's not over yet, but I think for movies, this is the last one we're going to see. And if this is the last movie, what I hope they do, the best case scenario, is that they continue Shin Godzilla instead. Because in case you don't know, Shin Godzilla, let me search this up, came out, it was made by the original Godzilla company, Toho. And this came out in 2016, after the MonsterVerse in 2014 was already started. And Toho made this, and then they discontinued it because the MonsterVerse was started to grow, and they were making King of the Monsters. So they discontinued their Shin Godzilla. Like, they were planning on making a 2, and they stopped production so that the Godzilla MonsterVerse series would have more attention and have more, like, budget and stuff like that. And so what I hope now, if the MonsterVerse is dead, they start production on Shin Godzilla 2. Because Shin Godzilla is my favorite Godzilla movie. It is the only other Godzilla movie besides the original where Godzilla is by himself and he's the villain and the humans have to fight him, which I really like. So I hope they bring back Shin Godzilla 2. Because it makes sense. They stopped Shin Godzilla 2 to focus on MonsterVerse, but now that MonsterVerse is gone, they can start back up on Shin Godzilla 2. I really, really hope they continue it. If they don't, it's no big deal. It had a pretty good ending and it doesn't need to be continued, but it was so good, and there were so much other concepts that were like made public and stuff for the second movie that never happened, that I'd love to see it like actually come to life one day. Which I'm not going to say anything for those movies, because obviously it's just all speculation where they might come out with a second one. And if they do, I don't want anything to be like spoiled, because I'm pretty well versed in like Shin Godzilla stuff. I'm a huge fan. It's my favorite Godzilla movie. But yeah, that really does sum it up for the new Godzilla vs. King Kong. In summary, I'm pretty sure this is the last MonsterVerse movie we're going to be getting. If not, we'll maybe get one more King Kong movie, and that'll be the end. I hope they continue Shin Godzilla instead. The Godzilla anime looks really good. And on the movie itself, fucking Mechagodzilla was insane. I wish there was just a little bit more. Just a couple, like 2 more minutes of Mechagodzilla doing cool stuff. But I'm satisfied with what I got. I really did like it. I'm glad the design is not this piece of shit. This looks so ugly. Like, this can't be real. It's fan art. But it's probably fan art based on this thing. Which this also looks ugly as fuck. Like, why are the hands so big? Why is he so hunched over? Why are it's only red and silver? It's not even like these colors mesh a lot. Like, the red isn't as pronounced here, but it's like done a lot better. The texture looks a lot better. You know, he's even thinner. Like, he looks kind of chunky here. he looks like just a robot T-Rex, not Mechagodzilla. But this looks like Mechagodzilla, you know? So I'm really, really happy with how this movie turned out. Not much was wrong with it besides the one scene where they spilt the stupid, like, alcohol on the keyboard and shut off Mechagodzilla's tail. But the humans had to do something, I guess. Whatever. Overall, as a Godzilla movie, or I guess as a monster movie, because I can't say it's a Godzilla movie, because it's a King Kong movie. Let's be real. It's King Kong movie. But as a monster movie, it's probably, I'd say, like, I give it like a 9.5 out of 10. It's done real. It's like, and by the way, I'm pretty sure Legendary, the film like producers that made this movie, also made Pacific Rim, which is why Mechagodzilla was done really well, because Pacific Rim is obviously monsters versus people and mechs, and Mechagodzilla is a fucking mech, so he's handled really well. Compared to King of the Monsters, the ends battle was a 2v2, Rodan and Ghidorah versus Mothra and Godzilla. And it wasn't much of... It was a monster battle. It wasn't like a WWE battle like this was. This was WWE and then converted completely into anime fight. I'm stupid. I forgot to mention one more thing. Godzilla and Mechagodzilla beam clash. They do a Dragon Ball Z fucking Gallic Gun versus Kamehameha beam clash. And Mechagodzilla wins. He wins the beam struggle. It was really, really cool. Like, you see Godzilla start to overpower the red beam a little, like the blue and the red. The blue starts to push it back a little bit, and then Mechagodzilla, like, powers it up and fucking slams Godzilla's whole thing back. It's really, really done well. So it's not really a monster fight. It's just like, it almost feels like two monsters in a fucking cage match, and then, like, the third challenger enters the ring, and they have to team up. It's done so fucking well. Yeah. So I'd say... And even the human characters, they're fine. They're okay. They're never good in monster movies. But the King Kong... I'll split this up into the King Kong crew and the Godzilla crew. The Godzilla crew being Millie Bobby Brown, and the King Kong crew being the guys that went to the Hollow Earth. The King Kong crew were pretty... They're actually not bad. I'd say they're good. The deaf girl can't be bad because she doesn't speak. And the two adults barely speak. So they're fine. They're just there to kind of like follow King Kong around and give him the sense of being when he needs it. But the Godzilla crew, the ones that are like Millie Bobby Brown, they're just kind of really fucking annoying and take up a lot of time. But the only reason they're there is like, fuck. They're not there. They barely have a purpose now that I think about it. They're kind of there to just, in that one scene, turn off Mechagodzilla's tail. I can't really think of another purpose for them, if I'm being honest. Which kind of sucks, considering Millie Bobby Brown was actually a good part, one of the good human characters in King of the Monsters. But that's fine. So I give this movie a 9.5, minus 0.5 points for the stupid scene where his tail gets shut off. But I had a really good time watching it. I'm pretty upset that my boys from the podcast couldn't watch all together, although we'll probably figure out a way to watch it within the next week, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit next episode, what they thought. But I'm glad Godzilla is the definitive winner between King Kong and him. I'm glad Mechagodzilla was kicking both their asses for the majority of the time that he was out. But that being said, thank you for tuning into... I'll call this VAZ Reviews because it's just me. In the future, we might have like VAZ Reviews plus Russell, plus Angel, plus whomever. But I'll probably make the series to replace podcast episodes once in a while to review a movie or game, or even maybe like a comic book that I really like that comes out. Because I usually, whenever everyone sees a movie, they review the stuff in their head or get a good game and beat it. They review it in their head. They say, I really like this, that. They write it down sometimes. I know I write my thoughts down all the time. So this will probably replace some podcast episodes. Maybe I'll review when Marvel movies come out, or I'll do it with someone. Who knows? But thank you all for tuning in today. I hope I see you all next time, and have a good day.